110-pound State of Ohio Girls High School Wrestling Preview brought to you by Bodycraft Fitness. Man, I'm excited about this one. Up until last week, this was even spicier, but it's still going to be a weight class that you have to watch. 110 pounds. Listen, here's your lineup of girls that made the Schottenstein Center for the first time ever. We're sanctioned, wrestling right alongside the boys. Here's the lineup. Haley Snyder from Warren, Meadow Gomez from Springfield, June Piles-Tresser from Dayton Carroll, Lexi Beadle from Boardman, Charlie Jones from New Richmond, Madeline Beggart from Northwest, Gia Weaver from Reynoldsburg, Michaela Christenberry from Montpelier, Gabby Garton from Chippewa, Leah Marine from Washington Courthouse, Melanie Toronto from Lancaster, Casey Wells from Delaware Hayes, Brooke Farmer from Shenandoah, Noelle Reinhardt from Rossford, Sabrina Schaefer from Alliance, and Molly Lubke from Brookville. Those are your 16 that made the Schottenstein Center. This is 110 pounds. Let me tell you about that spice that was taken off the table a little bit. Candace Spry from Tri-Valley did not make the field, and she was, by all intents and purposes, ranked number one at this weight. She wasn't necessarily because you got Lubke. Now, Lubke is unbelievable in her own right. I'll get to her in a minute. Spry doesn't make weight at the regional tournament. She's a freshman from Tri-Valley. She had beaten Haley Snyder. Snyder, a three-time state champ, found herself getting beaten by the freshman and moving to number 3 in the rankings. So at regionals, Spry doesn't make weight. Listen, that's part of wrestling. It's a tough break. It's a tough part of wrestling. And it's a tough break for the freshman from Tri-Valley. I've seen her. I have her matches. She is solid. She is really good. And when I heard that she beat Snyder, my chin hit the floor because from what I understand, and I saw on paper at least, it was a pretty solid win for Spry. So I was at the Olentangy Orange Regional, and I was looking forward to seeing her, punch her ticket back or get to the state tournament for the first time as a freshman, but get to the Schottenstein Center and spice this thing up. Spry is now done. So we really have two incredible wrestlers that are going to duke it out on paper. They're separated from each other in Molly Lubke and Haley Snyder. So let me tell you about Lubke. Brookville totally flew under the radar last year and did not get her respect that is due. She took runner-up at this weight last year, okay? So she's coming in ranked number 1. She's got the bottom side of the bracket split from Haley Snyder, who I mentioned earlier. Lubke is a junior, by the way, from Brookville, if I didn't say it already. Incredible wrestler. You're going to want to watch her. Snyder from Warren, as I mentioned, is a 3-time state champ. Now listen, for those of you who are new to the sport or have never been to the Schottenstein Center, you need to understand that when somebody wins their 4th state title, a standing ovation is given. You want to be a part of that. It gives you chills. And it doesn't happen very often. There have been 4-timers before, but the greats are 4-timers. We're talking about Colin Palmer. We're talking about Lance Palmer. We're talking about David Taylor. We're talking about Logan Stieber, Hunter Stieber. The list of greats is there from the state of Ohio. You want to be a 4-timer. It's got to be a goal, I'm sure, for Snyder. As I mentioned, the senior 3-timer, she won at 101. She won it again at 101. And then last year at 115. So she comes down to 110 pounds, but sees herself possibly as the underdog here against Lubke. So keep your eye on those too. Some matches in the opening round that I want you to keep an eye on. This is going to be a great weight to watch from start to finish. But right out of the gate, you've got June Piles-Tresser from Dayton Carroll against Lexi Beadle from Boardman. So Piles Tresser, a phenomenal freshman, she comes in to a very tough region and has to beat Caden Beard. Beard is also a freshman, very solid wrestler, and I would have loved to see that match, but June Piles Tresser avenges an earlier loss against Baird. Baird had pinned her at the Hammer and Anvil tournament earlier this year, but Piles Tresser comes in and gets the spot. So now in the opening round, what's her reward? Lexi Beadle from Boardman. Lexi is a junior, and she is currently ranked number 6. The rankers had June Piles Tresser ranked 9th down at 105 rather, down at 105. She was ranked 9th. So on paper, you've got a 9 versus a 6. You've got an up-and-coming freshman who's solid against a returning state place winner, a 2-time state place winner. Okay, so this is going to be a true test for both wrestlers. Beadle from Boardman took 7th last year at 115, and the year before she took 4th at 116 when the weight classes were just slightly different. So you got Beadle versus June Piles Tresser, opening round. Circle that match. Another one you want to watch is right below that. You want to circle this match. They might be going on at the same time, so keep your head on a swivel. You got Charlie Jones from New Richmond, a freshman, against Maddie Beggart from Northwest, also a freshman. Circle that match because those are 2 highly ranked wrestlers at this weight class. You got Charlie Jones ranked number 5, and you got Beggart ranked number 7. A couple of freshmen. Is the Schottenstein Center going to get on the nerves of any of these girls, actually? Really, not just being a freshman and being the first time there. All the girls are going to be the first time there. You've got the atmosphere, you've got the crowd, you've got the lights, you've got the cavernous feeling of the Schottenstein Center. So does the nerves get to anybody here on the first round? One more match I want you to circle, and that is Melanie Toronto from Lancaster versus Casey Wells from Delaware Hayes. A couple of what we would call Central District girls here, Lancaster and Delaware Hayes. They split in the regions, as Lancaster was at the Olentangy Orange region, which would be considered the central southeast region. And Delaware Hayes took runner-up as a team up to Marysville, up in the Marysville, which would be considered the northwest region. So anyways, so we've got this match here down. Toronto from Lancaster versus Casey Wells from Delaware Hayes. Both very, very good wrestlers. Toronto ranked 7th in the preseason, is a returning state qualifier herself. And then Casey Wells is ranked 13th. So down at 13, but man, don't count her out either. She is a senior, and she is a returning state place winner. She took 8th at 105. At this weight class, I mentioned Spicy, Lukey, Snyder, watch them. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 returning state qualifiers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are state place winners, and 2 of them are returning multiple time place winners. But listen, Gabrielle Garten, I would be making a huge mistake if I didn't mention her from Chippewa. She's a sophomore. She took runner-up at 115 last year. So of those state place winners, you've got Lexi Beadle, who's a multiple-time state place winner at number 6. You've got Gabby Garten, who's ranked number 4. She's a runner-up. You've got Haley Snyder, who's ranked number 3, and she is a 3-time state champ. That's unheard of because she was knocked off by Spry. But you got Lubke sitting in the driver's seat, and very well deserved for Lubke. She's the junior from Brookville, and she is a runner-up also. So you got 2 runners-up, you got a multiple-time state place winner in Beadle, and then you've got a 3-time state champ. How could you go wrong? Get your popcorn ready. Watch this weight class from beginning to end at the Schott. You're going to love it. These girls are fire. So good luck to you at 110 pounds. That's the preview.